Pastor Diane from Norfolk Wesleyan Church.
And I'm Pastor Peggy from Slave Lake Wesleyan. Welcome to Trivia Tuesday. Yay! I love Trivia Tuesday.
What is it you like about Trivia Tuesday, Pastor Peggy?
Well, I don't want to steal a catchphrase from Friday, but I like finding out new things.
That's why we have them at the end of the week. We start out with trivia, we end up with just saying.
Yep. I love to learn, and it's a good bookend.
Mm-hmm.
Learn at the beginning of the week, learn at the end of the week, and we're all good.
Yep. And this is our 8th season.
Wow.
Yeah. Because every week is a full season.
It's full season.
It's long enough to be.
Still no People's Choice Awards yet. I don't know what happened. Someday. No. 8 seasons and no People's Choice. Like, seriously? Come on, people.
Well, we have a special guest with us today. I love having special guests.
Yes.
Because I think they just add so much. Because we've only got so much, so we need other people to add.
Well, I got to tell you a little trivia about this special guest.
Okay.
I am not good with carpentry or driving nails or any of that kind of stuff. And this man tried to teach me.
Wow.
For about 2 weeks.
And that was it? He gave up?
And then I quit.
Oh, okay. Well, here's some trivia about this guy.
Ooh.
I live in his hometown and he lives in my hometown.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. So true. I never thought of that. That's so cool.
You really can't call either one of our towns a very big deal.
Well, I think Norfolk is a bigger deal than Mercer Settlement.
Yes.
Welcome, Reverend Starks. Good to have you here.
I'm glad to be here. But I'm here and you're there, so where am I?
Well, that's what I was just going to say. Can you tell us where you are?
Well, right now I am in the basement of my house looking out across a valley that will soon be lush green. It's shades of brown and green right now, and looking over at Pastor Diane's old homestead. Not that she's an old home, but it's a beautiful day here in Norton, New Brunswick.
Yay, Norton!
Well, while we were at Kingswood University, Pastor Starks was one of our professors, and he kept everything running at the campus as well, and he's helped me a lot and has mentored me in many things. But one of the things that he has mentored a lot of students in is in finances. Mm-hmm. So we are extremely grateful that you're here and you're going to share some things with us about budgeting, like we all like to budget, right?
Well, I like to travel, and because we've been confined to quarters and haven't been able to go that many places, I've been out a little bit just driving around, and I've discovered about 3 or 4 weeks ago, when it was mud season, that Janet and I wanted to go for a ride, and we went somewhere and we didn't really know where we were going. And I said, I wonder what's down this road. I've heard of this name before. And so we headed off towards Irish Settlement. It was a road, and I said, I think I've been across here before. Well, it was the spring of the year, and the road rapidly deteriorated. And fortunately, we were in the truck, and so I said it can't be that bad. And so the mud got a little deeper, and I said, well, if I just push on, we've got to come out somewhere. And then I discovered that the road actually stopped, but it did turn into a snowmobile trail, and it was up at a higher elevation, and there was still some snow on the road. And I said, well, if I just push on, I know there's a paved road just a little bit beyond here. Well, because I'm an old man, eventually I said, I need to stop and turn around and go back to where the ground is solid under my feet. Had I been in my younger days, I would have just said, let's keep going. And probably we wouldn't be able to do this interview because I'd probably still be there, buried in mud and snow. And so you say, what does that have to do with anything? I don't know. I just thought it'd be a good story. No, not really. The reason I tell you that story is because it was a challenging road, and it was unknown to me, even though I might have been through some of those patches before in late summer when everything was all dried up. But in the rough season, it's great to know exactly where you're going, and it's great to be able to work a plan. So it was nice to be able to turn around and get back to some hard pavement, to some road that I recognized, and we were able to complete our afternoon drive happily married, well, for the most part. And that's kind of the way I see budgeting, is if you've got a plan and you've got a roadmap, and even if you get a little off course, it gives you somewhere to go back to, something that you can set a plan and say, here's what works. So rambling around is kind of fun, but it really can get you in a lot of trouble. And you're just rambling around with money, that'll for sure get you in trouble. I've never met anybody who has actually been financially free or wasn't living with some sort of financial pressure that didn't have some kind of plan. So whether it's a written out or a concrete or whether it's just instinctive, if you don't have a plan, it's going to get you into trouble. But I was thinking of what a blessing this time is. Because we've got time on our hands, we can have this kind of a forum where we can talk to each other, that we can think about things that we haven't normally thought about. We can read things that we wouldn't normally read. We can interact with people that we wouldn't normally interact with. This can be a real blessing when it comes to your finances. There's a lot of people who spend a lot of money, and they spend it without really thinking about it. By the pandemic and being confined to quarters, being quarantined, staying home, it's given us more time to think, more time to slow down. And it's actually been, for a lot of people, a great time to save some money, because that $5 here and that $5 there that you normally spend without even thinking about it, you now have to think about it. And a lot of cases, you say it's just not worth the energy to go spend that $5 plus all the gas to get there. So in that way, it's been a blessing. And then the other blessing is for a lot of people, there have been extra government monies that have come back to you. It's actually your money that you put into the government. Some people have got that money back, and they haven't had extra expenses. Their income hasn't changed. They've actually been saving money. So they've been able to take that money and actually have used that to start or to build in their emergency fund. And some people, as usual, that got it, they were getting $1,200, and so they spent $1,400 to celebrate, and and actually ended up $200 worse off. But there have been some people that have taken that and have tucked it away and have created a whole new level of emergency fund. And put that together with what they've saved, and suddenly they've got a couple of $1,000s that they haven't had before. So this thing can be a huge economic blessing. Another good thing about this is there have been shortages. One of the shortages has been flour and baking goods. Sometimes people have had a hard job finding those. That's really a sign of an extra blessing, because that means that people are making food at home instead of going to Tim Hortons, just to pick on them, because that's one of my favorite pick-on places. Because people have had more time, they bought more basic ingredients and have actually made food at home instead of buying it out. This time has forced people to think like people who are our age, like their parents and their grandparents thought. It's pushed us back into an older time when people tended to be more money conscious. Now, early on in the crisis, people were rushing out and buying massive amounts of toilet paper, just like it was going to be an intestinal issue. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. What it means is that people, even though they were overreacting, it means they were thinking ahead and anticipating something that was going to happen, and always thinking ahead, even if it's a little overreaction, is a good thing. Now, Richard's prediction for the future is that this is not going to be the last emergency we're ever going to see. So this is a good time for us, even in the middle of this trauma, to say, what do I need to do to be ready? Should I let my toilet paper supply get down to a roll and a half? Well, no, that's not a good plan. The other thing that this has helped us with, normally in the summer, we run the roads. We go here, we take a vacation, we travel there. I'd love to go see my father and my sister in Norfolk. My daughter got married and is in Boston, and I wasn't able to go to the wedding. I'd love to be able to go to the wedding, but I can't go anywhere. What that's meant is that I bought some seeds, and I'm going to put a garden in when I wouldn't normally put a garden in. I'm going to be here, and I'm going to have time to take care of a garden. If I'm out running the roads, I can't take care of a garden. Another thing that I've discovered during this time is that when I go shopping, I want to go shopping on purpose. I really want to spend as little time in the store, in that environment as possible. But because of the want to get in and want to get out of the store, I've made a concrete list. What making the list has done, and will do for a lot of people, it'll keep you from, I want one of those, and I want one of those, and I should get one of those. And it becomes part of a plan. And grocery shopping bill has actually went down because we've only bought what we needed.
All right. I remember seeing a post of yours, I think it was probably back in December, and you were talking about your annual price comparison trip.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because that just thrilled me.
So what we do is we have about 4 different stores that we shop at for the variety of items. And so we've listed out nearly everything that we buy on a regular basis. It's a list of maybe 100 items. And so annually, we take that list of 100 items and we go to each one of the 4 different stores that we shop at, and we determine which item is cheapest at which store. That way, a neat thing that happens is when you get your flyer from Save Easy or the Superstore, and it says chocolate chips are on sale for this amount, you do your price comparison, and you go say, well, that's really nice, but they're at Costco for 10 cents cheaper all the time than they are on sale at this store. So our shopping list is made up of, we're going to Costco, and here's what we need to pick up while we're at Costco, because we know that that's the best value.
If somebody has not done any budgeting, what's the best way to start out?
So the best thing to do is to create a list of everywhere that you spend money. So we've been very blessed and have lived very blessed lives and financially free lives as a result of the Lord's blessing and discipline. But to this day, we write down every single nickel that we spend, and that is recorded. That way, if we want to make an adjustment, we have some idea of what we can do. And then a spending plan should start out, in my opinion, to be very, very basic, just to see if you can get a handle on it. Have some general categories, and there's a lot of good tools out there. If you Google family budgeting, give you some ideas of what sort of percentages are normal. You can get an idea of where you are, then it gets you a better idea of where you're going to go. And one of the advantages of writing it down is if you've got to write it down, you're going to think twice before you spend it.
One of the questions that I have that some people ask is like, how can I give when in a time where I'm trying to budget? Should I make giving a priority? What would you say to that?
I believe for those who are believers, that giving is a part of really following through with what is expected and what is normal for the Christian life. I think it's a healthy thing for everybody. And I've heard people say, I'm not poor unless I'm too poor to give. And when the Bible said it's more blessed to give than to receive, it's not just a believer thing. It's a general life rule. And the happiest people and the people that are most blessed are those that have put themselves in a position so that they're able to be generous. Generosity is a good, healthy, emotionally, mentally, and community thing to do. Another thing that I think that's important at this time is to be able to recognize that we are in a challenging time and to reach out for help.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a hard thing for most North Americans to say, I need help. We're fiercely independent. But I'd like to suggest that maybe this is the time when we could reach out to some people that we trust and say, hey, do you have any ideas how I might do this? Sometimes a friend who's got your best interest at heart can help you to make a small adjustment that'll make a significant difference. So a couple other things just before we quit. This is a good time to be very aware of your finances, because there's some scammers out there and calling for your personal information, saying that they're part of the COVID-19 and they're looking to take care of your government things for you. You have to be really sensitive. So they're preying on people during a time of considerable panic. And the other thing is there have been a number of organizations, banks and finance companies that have offered deferment on payments. And when they offer deferment on payments, what they're really doing is that they're offering an opportunity not to pay, but the interest is still accumulating. And then in many cases, you're paying interest on the interest for deferment.
Well, certainly a lot to think about here, and a lot to digest and move forward from here. But we thank you so much, Richard, for coming on. I'm Pastor Peggy from Slave Lake, Alberta.
I'm Richard from Norton, New Brunswick.
And I'm Pastor Diane from Norfolk, New York. Join us tomorrow for Warm Hearted Wednesday. Until then, be safe.
Be healthy.
And be the church.
Bye, everyone.